Hello, I'm here to talk about art and I'm going to show you how to make a mobile sculpture inspired by the work of Alexander Calder. So to begin with, I'm going to show you some of his work. So he creates these huge wire sculptures that are either hung from the ceiling or sit on the ground, and they're meters across, so they're really big. And you can see this one here, where closer, where he's got the forms that hang in the air, and he's got this one that kind of stretches and zigzags across the space, and then he's got ones like this that sort of stand on the ground. And then for me to get a better idea of the way he achieves his forms, I had to go at drawing one of his sculptures. So this is my drawing. And what I noticed when I did this is that he uses a lot of symmetry and also asymmetry. So symmetry in the fact that in this top section you can see here, those two are equal in length, and so they're symmetrical. And then the asymmetry comes with the rest of the sculpture. So you've got a weight balancing out this section here that kind of pushes out into that space. And then you can also see that in the shapes that he has at the end of his wire. So he's got these symmetrical circular shapes that reappear, but then also he gets these sorts of almost like a leaf shape, but they're not symmetrical in the sense that you get that same curve on this side. He sort of cut sort of a dip into it there. So it creates really interesting kind of tension and balance in his piece that is also carried through in the way that it's hanging. So that's his work. So the way I had to go at making it was by using plastic from a recycling bin. So I've got some plastic lids, got a mushroom tray, and I've got this biscuit tray. I've also got some sellotape, and what I did is it's good to pre-prepare a lot of sellotape first, because that way you don't have to worry about stopping constantly. So I'm just going to stick that to the side of this mug here. I'm going to cut off little bits and stick them on the rim of the mug. So I've prepared myself to start making. And then to make, instead of using wire, I'm using this clear plastic. And so cut strips out of the lid of the plastic. I just cut all the kind of rim off first because it makes it easier to handle. And then I use this coloured plastic to make the shapes that go at the end. But you can also use that for kind of the sort of elements that he uses that makes out of wire. Because what's useful about the plastic is it's quite rigid as well, so it holds its shape. And I found that when I had to go with wire, you can have a go with wire too, but it's also harder to find around the house. But yeah, it's just getting that balance. It takes a bit more time to get the sort of counterweights in place. So I started off by just taking bits of sellotape, and you just join the pieces as you like. So you're creating a form. So you might have a long piece of plastic. That will be your main kind of hang. And then from that, you kind of decide how you're going to work the balance out of the sculpture. And so what I did is I actually laid out all my pieces on the table, sort of in the way that I wanted it to be. But the thing is, like, that's always going to change as well, because how you start liking it is different. And what's nice is you can kind of try it with different angles. And then also you need something to pierce a hole. So when you know which is going to be your main element that's hanging, pierce a hole using kind of a needle or a nail just through the center. Then that way you can thread a thread through it. So this is one I had to go at making, where this is my long piece at the top, and then I pierced a hole through the top of it. And then I've gone through that same kind of beginning a symmetrical shape and then going into asymmetry. And I stuck a long piece with a short piece, so it's got that slight bend there. And then this is another kind of plastic. This is from like a hummus container. So that's actually a more bendy plastic. So the one from the lid, if you bend it, it snaps. Whereas if you use kind of softer plastic, then you can bend that and it has some nice draping effects as well. And then I pierced holes in either side of there, and then I threaded thread through. So I've got my hanging form. And what's nice as well is like when you have your hanging forms, you can try them out. You can be like, oh, actually, maybe I'll see what it looks like before I put the hole in. I'll see what it looks like if it's hung from that direction. If it's hung from different directions, it has different effects. So you can have a real play around with the kind of effect that has. And then what I found is that when I first put this together, this side was weighing down too much like that, and I didn't really like the way that looked. And so I just attached some small bits of plastic onto my orange piece of plastic, and so it acts more like a counterweight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thread from the top. And it's quite fiddly when you use thread, so you could do bigger holes and you can use string. And I'll see what it looks like when it's suspended. There we go. So that looks really interesting on its own, but I think what I'd like is I'd like it to be a bit more balanced on this side. I'd like it to be hanging a bit more like this. So what I'll do is I think I'll have to make quite a lot of weight, because if I think about how much is over there, I'm just going to cut out a load of shapes and just stick them all together. And what's important with this is there's not really a right way of doing it. You're just having a go and seeing what you like the look of. And looking at the sculptures of Alexander Calder is sort of like your beginning point. And from there, you sort of just see what happens. Because everybody's will look different, and that's what makes them interesting. There we go. Nice one. So I think that maybe I'll put some more plastic to weigh that one down, but we'll see. And then from there, what you can do is you can have a go with pieces of cardboard, attaching with cardboard. You can use different colour permanent markers, and you can colour in the plastic if you want, or you could stick different coloured paper on it so it's really colourful. And also what you can have a go, if you've got other materials, if you've got wire, have a go with wire too. I had a go with just bits of plain cardboard on the end of that one. And then this is sort of pieces of cardboard attached with paper clips, so you can have a go with that as well. And then to create that counterbalance at the end, I actually put a penny piece on the end as well, so that's very useful. So yeah, so these are some ideas for you to make your own mobile sculptures. Enjoy.